We will now call the Plan Commission of March 11th, 2025 to order. Roll call, please.
Bouch here.
Kipchinsky here.
Lorik here. Kavich here.
Guzikowski here.
Oldani here.
Seifert here.
Chandler here.
Okay. Approval of minutes of February 25th, 2025. Everybody kind of take a look. Satisfied? There's no discussion, omission, errors, corrections. Motion.
Seifert moves to approve the minutes of February 25th, 2025.
Roll call, beginning with Steve.
Bouch aye.
Kipchinsky, aye.
Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. Thank you, Greg.
Oldani seconds.
Thank you. Let's do that again. Guess I'm anxious. Anyway, Steve.
Bouch aye.
Kipchinsky, aye.
Lorik, aye. Gavich, aye.
Guzikowski, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
Okay, up first, review a request for a temporary use permit, temporary garden center in the parking lot at 7501 South Howell.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, so this applicant is seeking a temporary use permit for a garden center that would be located in the south portion of the Classic Lanes parking lot. You may be familiar with this use. It's been approved the previous 15 years, so this will be the 16th year for this. This use here, we have a photo here from the 2019, which according to their site plan, they're going to be exactly the same with the one hoop house. It's be running from mid-April to mid-July with hours 7 days a week from the daytime hours. Again, proposing to have two signs, one 32 square foot sign and another one that's 12 square feet. Again, like they've done for the last previous years. And that Classic Lanes has agreed to supply water and restrooms for this use. So staff has the suggested motion for you.
Great, thank you, Todd. Does the applicant want to say anything or just wait on questions? Okay. Steve?
I have
Anything?
no questions. I buy my stuff from there, so.
Ashley?
No questions.
Greg?
No questions.
Chris?
No questions.
Don?
No questions.
Fred?
No questions.
Chauncey?
No questions.
No questions, just a comment. I myself and my wife go there frequently too. Great plants. They seem to hold up, and I suck as a gardener, so that's saying something. Okay, if there's no further discussion, motion on four.
Oldani moves that the Plan Commission approves the temporary use permit request for the operation of a garden center in the parking lot on the property of 7501 South Howell Avenue with the following conditions. 1, that all relevant code requirements remain in effect. 2, that all garden center activities shall be located within the portion of the parking lot as per the proposed map. 3, that operations shall occur between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday and between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. Sunday. 4, that signage for the operation is limited to one 32 square foot and one 12 square foot sign. Each sign shall meet setback requirements, shall be placed so that the drive aisles and parking stalls remain unobstructed and shall be stored within the tent area during non-business hours. 5, that a tent permit is obtained prior to operation. And 6, that the temporary use permit shall be valid between April 15th, 2025 through July 15th, 2025. The property shall be restored to its pre-temporary use condition by no later than July 17th, 2025.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Ashley.
Kipchinsky, aye.
Lorik, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Guzikowski, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
Bouch aye.
Okay. Item 5, review a request, temporary use permit for long-term temporary storage of Rosen Auto vehicles on the property at 6912 South 27th Street. Submitted by Pastor Irvin Johnson, World Outreach Center. This is one we've done before. This is just an extension. Todd?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, so the property, which is on South 27th Street, just north of Rawson Avenue, again, they're looking to extend their long-term temporary vehicle storage permit, which would expire today, and would to continue on with the same maximum of 300 vehicles to be parked on site. They're looking to extend it until October 31st of this year. Again, while the Rosen Automotive continues their construction just up in Milwaukee. As shown for their site plan, the parking is contained to the east and west of the building. Took photos the other day. You can see those two, how that currently looks with the cars. This photo was taken, in the parking lot at the center, and then also the view from South 27th Street, which is 500 or so feet set back there. So that's me standing on the sidewalk. So the applicant's here for questions. Otherwise, we've prepared the suggested motion.
Great, thank you, Todd. Does the applicant want to wait on questions or say anything? Okay, great. We'll kick it off. Chelsea, you're first.
No questions, thank you.
Fred?
Yeah, I have a question. The last time we issued this temporary parking, we said that there would be no extensions of the temporary use of the permit, which carried over to March.
Correct, and what substantially changed was the construction of the dealership. The economy changed a little bit, so they were in a pinch. So the church has been kind enough to accept the vehicles, and there's been no complaints whatsoever from the residents, from the church. So if it helps the church, it helps the local business. I took a ride by there. Unless you physically really make an entry into there,
Okay.
you don't see
There's
it.
no problem.
No, not from my point of view.
Okay,
But that's the reason for the extension. It's an unexpected circumstance of getting permits, materials, and what have you, because the lead times are so long. And they're hoping that any proposed tariffs don't impact them and they can finish
thank you.
up. Don,
No questions at this time.
Chris,
No questions.
Craig?
This is in the second district. I believe at the initial meeting, there was a resident with a concern, not really a complaint. But I've heard nothing, got no complaints this entire time. So I have no issue with this. I know this is due to construction not being completed and having to be extended. But with the new date, October 31st, are we sure that construction will be completed by then?
You'll have to be up. Name and address, please.
Tim McMurtry, 6912 South 27th Street. And this is Don Kramer, GM for Rosen. He can give a couple more updates on that construction schedule. We were believing that this extension to this time frame would allow us to absorb this additional construction time period or extension. So I'll have Don speak more specifically.
Don Kramer, I'm with Rosen Automotive, 5505 South 27th Street. We had a couple of setbacks with permits that put construction behind. It's definitely should be done by October 31st.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Nothing else.
And just to be clear, those permits weren't City of Oak Creek permits. We're actually just helping a neighboring business. Oak Creek's much more expedient when it comes to that kind of stuff. Ashley?
No questions, thank you.
Steve?
No questions.
No, I have none. I kind of stated my case. And again, there has been no complaints whatsoever. It helps the church and helps keep somebody a prosperous business. Helps all. So, okay. Motion on, is that 5?
Clerk moves to approve the temporary use permit request for long-term temporary storage of Rosen Auto vehicles in the World Outreach Center parking lot on the property at 6912 South 27th Street with the following conditions. 1, there shall be a maximum of 300 vehicles stored on the property in striped parking stalls within the approved vehicle storage area. No vehicle shall be parked on grass or gravel. 2, delivery or removal of vehicles shall be between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. 3, no additional cars shall be added to the site. 4, there shall be no sales of vehicles from the approved vehicle storage area. 5, there shall be no structures in this temporary use. 6, any security fencing shall conform to all code and permitting requirements. 7, there shall be no lighting added for this temporary use. 8, there shall be no advertising or signage in the approved vehicle storage area. 9, the vehicle storage area shall not encroach upon fire lanes and shall adhere to any applicable fire codes. 10, there shall be no outdoor storage of equipment, junk, damaged, non-inventory vehicles, parts, supplies, or flammable hazardous materials. 11, a copy of an active lease or agreement between World Outreach Center and Rosen Auto shall be supplied to the Department of Community Development prior to parking any vehicle within the approved storage area. And 12, the temporary use permit for storage of vehicles shall expire October 31st, 2025. Vehicles shall be removed and the property shall be restored to its original condition within 14 calendar days following the expiration of the temporary use permit. No extensions of the temporary use permit will be issued.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Craig.
Lorik, aye.
Kavich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
Bouch, aye.
Shinsky, aye.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Item 6 is a review of site architectural plans for the construction of a new industrial building to be located at 7605 South 6th Street, submitted by Scott Lawson, Keller Inc. Todd.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you guys may recall from last month or last meeting, where you reviewed a CSM for the property at 7655 South 6th Street. That CSM then was approved by Common Council on the 4th of March. So we have the pending CSM for recording. And so the applicant is back again for a site plan and review for the proposed construction on that site, which is very much in line with what their concept plan was. And that being the 60,710 square foot industrial warehouse building, which is to have 8 loading docks and 3 overhead doors along the north facade of the building. It'll also have a little over 71,000 square feet of the area be paved with asphalt or concrete to accommodate 41 parking spaces, which will mostly be situated on the south side of the building, but also 16 trailer parking stalls, which you can see on the north side of the building. They're proposing a 8-foot wall wood privacy fence, as you can see from the inset photo here, that would be acting as screening from 6th Street to the loading dock area. The development would leave 44% of the site is green space, which would incorporate the stormwater pond as well. They have an electrical transformer in the street yard, but that is, as you'll see from the landscaping, is to be screened by landscaping. At this point, they don't have a set location for their dumpsters, potentially proposed along the north facade, but so when they have that location, those will have to be shown, and screening will have to be done as per code for those. Architecturally, the building will be constructed of painted precast concrete panels, colors of red and 4 shades of gray around it. It'll be 4-sided architecture. You can see I have the views from the east, southeast, and northeast showing up right now. That will have horizontal and vertical sections created by those panels and colors. It will have windows on all 4 sides, as well as bump in and bump outs along the footprint, primarily in the southeast corner of the building where the main entrance will be. The roof is a parapet wall with drop downs as well, where the accent colored walls panels are, to add some difference there. And the entrances will be well defined with canopies of the same color as the accent wall. So in reviewing the architecture, it meets the city's code requirements. And here you can see the building from the other side, the southwest, and from the northwest sides. As we're familiar, so the site is currently it's heavily wooded, and this development would result in 174 trees being removed, which, under code would require 528 trees replaced. And as we discussed at the last meeting, in lieu of a development agreement is being created to outline compensation for that, as they don't have ample space on site. And that is looking like that will be considered by Common Council at the March 31st, 2025 meeting. But they will be maintaining some existing trees, primarily along the west side of the lot, north, pretty much around the edges as much as they can, as you can see by like the green billowing symbology there. For required landscaping, they're required to have parking lot interior landscaping, which is located to the south by the parking area, all with a shade tree and ground cover included as required, and landscaping around the building foundation with shrubs and other ground cover also is meeting code. Because of the layout of the site and the adjacent uses being industrial, they're not required to have any transitional landscaping or perimeter landscaping. And then you'll note too that they are providing for ample grass and ground cover from on the east street yard as well. In their lighting plan, they are only proposing wall-mounted fixtures, 10 in total. The larger of these will be on the north facade in the dock area of it, and then they'll have one of the more medium-sized fixtures both on the east and west facades, and then 3 along the back for parking. As proposed, all the lights are downward directed and 5,000 kelvins or less in their temperature. Again, lighting meeting code for the city requirements. So the applicant's here for any questions if you have. Otherwise, we have our suggested motion prepared by staff.
Okay, thank you, Todd. Applicant, you want to do any presentation here, or you just want to wait on
With Keller, I don't know if it's considered a presentation piece, but I would just lead on to one comment with the landscaping. We are trying to preserve some of the trees on the east side near the road, which maybe wasn't depicted very well. So there does show keeping those trees remaining in as much as possible. So
Right. So as Todd alluded to, there is that wooded spot in there. It really isn't open to the public, doesn't serve a purpose, and as hard as we try, and I mean our canopy is in great shape, we want to preserve what we can, but this is really our first go around where it's so prohibitive as to what has to be taken down, what has to be replaced, that it just physically on this site wouldn't work. And quite frankly, even given what they'd have to replace, it's questionable whether the city would have enough forestry personnel and places to put them as well. So we're exploring different options as we go down this path, because this won't be the last time this ever happens to us going forward.
Can we get his name, address?
Why you need some trees?
No,
What?
gentlemen.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, he did. He said
I
Scott
just didn't give
Lawson.
an address. Do you want an address?
Yeah, sure.
1550 Hillside Road in Slinger, Wisconsin.
Okay. But anyways, staff is working towards something. I mean, the ordinance itself will remain,
Right.
but if it's completely unattainable, there might be other options as well, which is what we're exploring. So kind of a prototype on this property. You don't have to look far for that. We have some industrial property along 13th that's set to develop. Literally, they probably have to replace 2,000 trees. It's a lot going on. So, anyhow, okay.
Yeah.
Anything else? Scott?
The only other thing I would mention is the dumpsters. Not understanding, the full use of the building yet, how much trash they'll produce and things of that nature. We don't know if it'll be a trash compactor, if it'll be 2 dumpsters. So what we've done is tried to provide a function for 2 things, which is that 8-foot tall privacy fence that would be solid cedar. So from the street, you would not see the truck dock area at all, which is also then, we're trying to make it the screening for any dumpster that sits like on the truck pad area as well. So there would, right now, we're not proposing any sort of masonry enclosure with a gate, just because we don't know where it would be or how many we would need or anything like
Okay.
that, so.
I will say this, please check with our staff because masonry is required. So unless you keep that thing indoor and utilize one of your docks, pickup, it would have to be masonry. So before you invest in that cedar fence, make you cut that down. You may want to figure that out coming through here sooner than later. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, the wood fence that they have proposed now is not necessarily for the dumpsters, but screening of the entire loading area.
Oh, okay.
That's
I
what the
thought
wood-
I thought you were talking about the dumpster.
No, but he's saying for the dumpsters, they're not sure exactly where they're going to put them, and
Right.
as far as he's trying to understand the screening requirement.
I mean, we believe that the screening would act, that 8-foot fence would act for screening for both things, but I guess we'd also ask if you want a dumpster enclosure, is there a way to talk about removing the screening of the fence itself? If we do pick a spot.
Yeah, I'm kind of jumping the gun on this. First of all, you got to come up with a permanent location for where your dumpster is, because the dock still may need to be screened. Whether you incorporate it into both, that's kind of a staff question. But again, no pun intended, we had dumpster fires with wood fences, and literally that's why we went to masonry. So it will be masonry. So that is a requirement. Just be straight with you.
Yeah, no,
I can tell you what you want to hear, but
No, maybe
in the
I'm
end,
not being clear. We're not proposing a dumpster enclosure out of a fence. If we were
Okay.
required to put a dumpster
Yeah.
enclosure in, we would make one out of masonry. What we're saying is, if you have to kind of look at the grade. So the grade of the building on the northeast corner is much higher than the
Shoot to that.
docks. So
correct.
that screening is much further away than any dumpster would
Right,
be
and I thought you did a
located.
great job with that. I mean, I think that helps your business as well. Gets, add any visuals to have people looking back there going, let's fool around and see what's going on in
Sure.
those trailers.
Yep.
So.
Okay.
Okay. Is that it?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Easy.
We'll go to council. Steve, you want to start out?
I have no questions. Building looks nice and the landscaping looks nice.
Ashley?
Just as a reminder, that stormwater management plan will be submitted to the city for city review, and then once it is acceptable to the city, we will pass it along to MMSD for their review. Then along with that, a stormwater maintenance agreement will be required that will eventually go to council as well. So we'll look forward to seeing that stormwater management plan for you.
Greg?
As far as the building, no concerns. I appreciate the red accents, given the name of the company. It'd be interesting to see more of the majority of one of the walls red completely based on the name. But definitely not required. As far as the trees, just comparing the conceptual site plan in our packets to the landscaping plan. And I think you addressed this, but the larger tree lines on the east and south of the conceptual plan, is that where you're hoping to keep trees?
Yes.
It was kind of cut off on the slides, but yeah, there's trees noted along the east side and along the south side. And then it's noted that kind of the V around the stormwater,
Correct.
you're looking to maintain as many trees as possible. So with that, I have no issues.
Chris?
I think looks good. It'd be a nice addition.
Don?
I have no questions.
Fred?
I have a little question about the number of trees that you're gonna plant in. You're gonna take out 174. The city really requires about 528 trees on the property. And of course, you don't have the space to do that. So how many trees do you plan on adding to your property once you've cleaned out the other trees?
That's a good question. I don't.
I mean, it looks like from the landscape plan, there'd be the 5 shade trees
Yeah.
that will be planted. And then maintaining the others, the existing that they can. I'm seeing 5 planted.
Yeah, I would say that's correct. Five new trees planted around the parking lot on the south side.
Okay.
Then all other trees on the east, north, and west sides would remain existing.
Do you have a
So-
rough number of trees that you are gonna plant on the facility?
5.
Just 5?
Yep.
That it, Fred?
That's it.
Okay. Jocelyn?
One question in regards to the flow of traffic. Where are the trucks entering and the cars entering for the site?
So that's fine. So the trucks would be entering on the northeast corner of the site. Cars would enter on the southeast corner.
Okay, so
2
they,
entrances.
And they have a shared access to the property to the south, the 7655. There's a shared access there.
Correct.
they do or they do not?
They will have.
Oh, they will, okay. Okay.
There's shared access between lots 1 and lot 2 is what you're mentioning.
Right. So their lots to the south where their operations are, there's gonna be a shared drive connecting those two. And they'll have an access agreement. That was part of a condition of this approval.
And so can you enter and exit from both locations?
Yeah, for cars, you can enter 6th Street from the southeast corner, which isn't really showing on this picture here. There's probably another drawing on, I don't know if you have it in a slide, but the southeast corner has an entrance from 6th Street for cars. Northeast corner would be for trucks. Lot 1, which is the lot to the south, has its own separate car entrance on the northeast corner, and then another small one on the southeast corner.
I see.
Oh, wait, I guess I'm not understanding. So if I heard you correctly, trucks can come in at both locations to your property or,
For the new property, trucks can only go in on the northeast corner.
okay. Yet for the other entrance, which is connected to the other property, the trucks and cars can come in there, but they won't come onto your property or the new property.
So the cross-access easement would be for cars and, some minor forklift traffic
Oh, okay.
north.
No
No
large
trucks,
trucks.
right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Very quickly, compliments on the building. I think it's a really sharp-looking building with the bump outs, and I like the red accents. I never put 2 and 2 together with the name of the company. But as long as we're talking about that wall you want to put up,
Make it red?
didn't hear it from me, but boy, that's some symbolization. And again, not to bust your chops or anything, but the dumpster location's kind of key. Really work with staff on that. Kind of nuts about that. And we're hitting it in the next one. The landscaping plan, I think is very aggressive. The arborvitae's all the way around there. There may only be 5 trees, but I think the landscape's excessive. I'm no expert, but boy, rain gardens and butterfly stuff. Apparently the butterflies are in danger, so anything you can do to help them. The one thing I did notice, in the depictions you had the transformer screened. because you're gonna have a transformer feeding that building right on the outside and electrical
Yeah.
service, probably gas as well. Those need to be screened, and that can be accomplished with landscape. So I seen on the print, it didn't wrap around that way, but in the depiction it does. It looks
Yeah,
like you
I
got
made a note of that. We
fountain
can,
grass or something like that.
we can
but
put some landscaping around it.
otherwise, I wish a lot of our industrial buildings took the time to landscape like that. I think it's a nice look. I know it's a challenging site and everything, but I like the red accents. I like the awnings. I like the dark gray, the light gray, and in particular, I like the bump outs. So well done to whoever designed that. Other than that, Chauncey kind of got the traffic. Fred had the other stuff. So yeah, I got nothing. There's any further discussion? Nothing else. Motion.
Oldani moves that the Plan Commission approves the site and architectural plans for construction of a new industrial building to be located at 7605 South 6th Street with the following conditions. 1, that all relevant code requirements remain in effect. 2, that a cross-access and maintenance agreement between 7605 South 6th Street and 7655 South 6th Street be executed and recorded by the Milwaukee County Register of Deeds and a copy provided to the Community Development Department prior to the issuing of any permits. 3, that plans are revised to include final locations for trash and recycling receptacles. All trash and recycling receptacles shall be screened as required by municipal code and constructed of masonry material. 4, that plans are revised to include locations for all mechanicals, transformers, and utilities. All mechanical equipment, transformers, and utility boxes, ground, building, and rooftop shall be screened from view. 5, that a development agreement between the City of Oak Creek and the property owner is in place outlining compensation for modifying the city's tree preservation requirements prior to issuing of any permits. 6, that if the stormwater management plan is approved allowing the outfall structure to be located on City of Oak Creek property, that the outfall structure and associated riprap be located within an easement for the property owner to maintain. That's it.
Dork seconds.
Bukevich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
Balch, aye.
Chinsky, aye.
Lorick, aye.
Okay. Item 7, review of landscape plans for modifications at Redwall Screen Printing, an existing business, that's important, located at 7655 South 6th, submitted by Scott Lawson, Keller, Inc. So keep in mind, proposed building was a different address, so talking about the existing building and some of the landscape. Todd?
Right, yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is lot 1 of that CSM at the same location, which will contain the building and existing paving that's there. And if you recall from that division, that the green space for the site was reduced below the 30% as required. So the applicant is here proposing modifications to the landscaping and parking lot to increase that green space. And so with their landscape plan, certainly they show the ample existing landscaping that's on site, mainly along 6th Street, and also how the existing tree line to the southwest as well. In an effort to increase the green space, they are proposing 4 new landscape islands within the parking lot, as shown on the north of the building here. And those landscape islands will contain each one shade tree and the ground cover that's required per code for parking lot islands, landscape islands. Also, they're proposing to remove just about 1,900 square feet of pavement from the western portion of the lot as an effort to increase green space, and they intend to plant that with grass. And so the applicant is here with any questions, otherwise we have the staff prepared suggested motion.
Scott, any comments you'd like to make?
Nope.
Wait on some questions?
Yep.
All right, let's start with Steve.
No questions.
Ashley?
No questions.
Greg?
No questions. I appreciate the addition of the extra green space, and while it doesn't get that lot to 30%, the combined two lots is over that, so I have no concerns here.
Chris?
Looks good, thank you.
Don?
No questions.
Fred?
No questions.
Chelsea?
No questions, thank you.
No, I don't either, and to just kind of piggyback on Greg, appreciate you, it's a unique situation, one owner, same business, two different tax key numbers, two different addresses, but working together to try to achieve that. I think it improves their parking lot a little bit. So, much appreciated, and it's good business here within the cities. There's no further discussion or questions. Motion on 7.
Clerk moves to approve a landscape plan for the modifications at Redwall Screen Printing, an existing business located at 7655 South Sixth Street, with the following conditions. 1, that all relevant code requirements remain in effect, and 2, that all revised plans are submitted in digital format for review by the Department of Community Development prior to the submission of any building permit applications.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call, beginning with Chris.
Guzekowski, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
Bouch, aye.
Shinsky, aye.
Clark, aye.
Kavich, aye. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, appreciate it, guys.
Before we adjourn, Steve, you want to talk about your event coming up? You want to give it a plug for anybody that might be streaming in?
Oh, yes. Friday night, we're going to be having a lead-off social. It's helped raise money for Oak Creek Boys high school baseball teams. It's from 6 to 11. We have the band Superfly playing. So it'll be a good night. Some raffles, 50-50, silent auction items, and a meat raffle during the center intermission. So this should be a good time. You don't want to be the only one in Oak Creek not there, so please come join us.
Okay. That's all we got going right now in the season. So, there's no further business. Motion to adjourn.
Seifert moves to adjourn at 6:40.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call, beginning with Don.
Oldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
Bouch, aye.
Shinsky, aye.
Clark, aye.
Kavich, aye. Is that it?